the net the other day that occupy is the word of the year. I don't know how they figure that out. Maybe it just gets searched or pops up more than any other word. So I want to talk about that a little bit. Some Native and other oppressed peoples have had a feeling about this word, occupy, because that is what imperialists do when they colonize our land. They occupy us. Our indigenous lands are already occupied. And I know people from Puerto Rico and Palestine and many other places, we know about that feeling of occupation. So that word occupy can push some buttons, since we feel as though our lands actually need to be unoccupied, or deoccupied, or decolonized. It seems as though everything is occupied and getting privatized. Many city parks are now private. We're seeing that in Dewey Square in Boston. We're seeing that at Liberty Park in New York, many places like this. It feels as though there are fewer places where regular working people can gather because they're already occupied for the rich. And the 1% now wants to occupy even more than the land. That is not enough for them anymore. They want to occupy everything under the land and over the land, too. The greedy energy corporations want to destroy mile after mile of communities and ecosystems with the tar sands and the XL pipeline. They are endangering aquifers under the earth with their fracking. They drill oil offshore and continue to build nuclear power plants. They continue to send not only pollution into the skies, but also satellites with radioactive material into space. This is all combined with the escalating global warming problems that our elders have been warning about for so many years. There is a poisonous occupation of our planet going on. I think of Leonard Peltier, and we will be talking more later about this Anishinaabe brother who is a Native political prisoner. We will have an update on him and a message from him. He's in prison because he and others stood up to fight against the occupation and exploitation and poisoning of Oglala Lakota land at Pine Ridge. I think, too, of how Leonard Peltier and Mumia and other political prisoners have resisted for so many years having their minds be occupied and colonized. And what a struggle it is for all of us every day to try and free our brains from being occupied. And yet, at the same time, we recognize that the word occupy has been reclaimed by militant workers from Egypt, Mexico, and many other places to describe occupations of factories, schools, and neighborhoods. Indigenous people have in the past occupied Alcatraz and occupied the BIA building, for instance. Also, some of the occupied cities took an important step, which was to express their solidarity with indigenous peoples and seek indigenous participation, to acknowledge that decolonization needs to be part of the dialogue, not just occupation. Occupy Boston did this very early on, with much thanks to Martin and everyone else from the Indigenous Solidarity and Outreach Working Group there. And so have other cities such as Occupy Denver and Occupy Albuquerque. When a hand is reached out to us in friendship like that, we want to respond in kind. So it is in this context that we support Occupy Boston and the Occupy Wall Street movement. That we are able to get a message from him this year. And our elder Bert Waters is going to read his message. And during this time, you will see some young people going through the crowd with a red dance shawl. Some young people and a theme going through the crowd with a red dance shawl. And we are collecting money for the Leonard Peltier Defense Committee. So I ask that everybody here please donate to the Defense Committee because it's very hard for them to keep their office open, to do mailings, to do everything that they need to do in order to keep up the struggle to free Leonard Peltier. Now it's Bert Waters.
Thank you. Thank you.
Statement of Leonard Peltier to National Day of Mourning. Greetings to all my friends, relations, and supporters. Well, it's that time of year again, the time when America celebrates its fantasy about Indians and pilgrims. This is truly a day of mourning. So many paid so dear a price so that the people may live. As an Indian man, this National Day of giving thanks leaves so much to be desired. Like many of you, I think a seasonal recounting of the truth is in order. Perhaps we can call these truths the 7 deadly Indian sins. Fact: the first documented Thanksgiving was a celebration of an Indian massacre. Ask any Pequot. Fact: even the feast that is celebrated was followed by a genocide, with those Indian participants and their descendants being virtually wiped out within a generation. Ask any Wampanoag. Fact: 98% of American Indians, perhaps 150 million of our relations, were killed by the onset of the reservation times. This is the largest Holocaust in the history of the world. Fact: once on the reservation, our children were stolen and sent to boarding schools or adopted out. Many of them were abused. Some were never heard from again. Fact: reservation-bound Indian women were commonly sterilized without their knowledge or consent. Fact: the lifespan of American Indians continues to be much shorter than for any other Americans. Fact: we continue to live with substandard housing, education, and health care. For this, we're supposed to celebrate? I don't think so. If Indians can be so marginalized, it can happen to anyone. We've said this for generations. Now it seems more everyone is feeling colonized. In a time where corporate greed is so evident and 99% are falling behind, and in the Indian tradition of sacrifice, I ask all of you to observe a day of unthanksgiving. Fast. Fast. Donate your meal to a person in need. Instead, in this America, there are forgotten people. Everywhere one can see, and everywhere one can see people need hot meals. Helping others is in need, is the noblest practice of a truly thankful nation. If the occupiers of America's cities could do this, instead of participating in overindulgence so common to the 1%, how much good might be done? Fasting and praying is a powerful way for all of us to become centered too. I remain an indigenous political prisoner. My sacrifice is for my people. If between the football games and turkey and dressing you can remember me, those like me, I will be thankful as well. May Wakatanka bless you and keep you, all my relations. In the spirit of Crazy Horse, Leonard Peltier.
Ven que le voy a mostrar.
We are tired of the lies. These people are suffering from a psychological term called cognitive dissonance. The inability to perceive the truth or recognize the truth although it's right in front of them. Time to change the books.